Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakra Chatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna to everybody. Wishing you all a fantastic Friday, or you must have had a fantastic Friday, or maybe after this session you will think it's a fantastic Friday. Hare Krishna. I am in Kerala in Guruvayur, and I'm traveling a bit, but I always want to see you on Fridays. Om Tat Sat. Who wants to volunteer to read?
Text 47. From the transcendence, which is called Krishna Loka, there emanates a glowing effulgence that resembles the tail of a comet. This glowing effulgence is unlimited, immeasurable, and unfathomable. Within this effulgence, there are innumerable glowing planets, each of them self-luminous. Somewhere, a limited part of that glowing effulgence is covered by material energy, just as a part of the sky is covered by a cloud. Within this material energy, there are innumerable universes. In every universe, there are innumerable material planets, and the Earth is one of these planets. Thus, we can understand what an insignificant part of the entire cosmos is this globe on which we live. Krishna Loka, as above mentioned, is a residence of the personality of Godhead, the original transcendence. The glowing effulgence emanating from Krishna Loka is the personal glow of the Lord. The Almighty Lord, being full of inconceivable energies, expands himself in various forms and energies. There are forms from his energy as well as forms from his person. He has innumerable energies, and therefore he can do anything and everything as he desires. And these things take place immediately with all perfection. His energies are like the heat and light that expand from a fire. The entire cosmic manifestation is nothing but an expansion of his energies. The energies are emanations from him, and therefore the emanations are simultaneously one with and different from him. The transcendence is compared to milk, and the emanations are compared to yogurt. Yogurt is nothing but milk, but at the same time it is different from milk. Yogurt is a milk preparation, but it cannot be used in place of milk. The Lord is also sometimes compared to a tree. The roots of the tree is the cause of the trunk, branches, twigs, leaves, and fruits. Yet the trunk is not the fruit is not the leaf, nor is the leaf the root. When water is needed, it has to be poured on the root, not on the leaves. Pouring water on the leaves serves no purpose, but pouring water on the root serves all purposes. This is the essence of the philosophy of spiritual culture. Krishna Loka is also called Goloka Vrindavana. Beneath this Goloka are Hari Dhama, Mahesha Dhama, and Devi Dhama. Hari, Vishnu, Narayana is the formal expansion of the Lord. Mahesha or Shiva is the formal energetic expansion of the Lord, and Devi is the Lord's energetic expansion. The living entities are also energetic expansions of the Lord. There are two different kinds of living entities called the liberated souls and the conditioned souls. The planets within the glowing effulgence are called Haridhama. On these planets, the predominating deity is Hari, and the predominated deities are the liberated souls. The features of the liberated souls and those of Hari are almost the same, yet Hari is predominator and the liberated souls are predominated. The innumerable planets in Hari Dhama are predominated by different formal expansions of the Lord, and all of them have different names. The universes within the material energy are called Devi Dhama, and within Devi Dhama, the predominating deity is Vishnu, who is assisted by Brahma and Shiva. Devi Dhama is controlled by three modes, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. Vishnu is the incarnation of goodness, Brahma of passion, and Shiva of ignorance. Brahma creates, Vishnu maintains, and Shiva destroys the material creation. The material creation comes into being by the will of the Lord, and it is again annihilated by his will. But although the universes of the material energy are thus created and annihilated, the planets in Haridhama are ever existent. The conditioned living entities who wish to enjoy and not serve are given a chance within Devi Dhama to seek liberation. Some of them enter Haridhama, some of them enter Mahesh Dhama, and some of them remain within Devi Dhama. Mahesh Dhama is the marginal place between Haridhama and Devi Dhama. The impersonalists who want to merge into the existence of the transcendence are placed within Mahesh Dhama. Those who want to remain within the planetary systems of the material universes do so on various planets. But those who want to go outside the material energy can enter Haridhama and go either to the various planets there or directly to Krishna Loka. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribol, Hare Krishna, thank you. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, welcome. And we have a very technical description today of the spiritual worlds and the material worlds. And we are being told about the vastness of creation. Even the material creation is very, very vast. It's mentioned that the material creation is 1/4 Ekapada Vibhuti, and the spiritual creations are Tripada Vibhuti, 3/4 of the creation of the Lord. That's why it's mentioned like the tail of the comet. In one portion of it, a small portion of it, it is a little dark, just like a clouds overcoming the sky somewhere. And that's where material creation is situated. And even that is innumerable planets. Innumerable. And you have Devi Dhama, Mahesha Dhama, and then the spiritual world is Haridhama. Mahesha Dhama is something in between, Prabhupada has explained. So, actually, it is so systematized, so organized. Although to the material eye of the conditioned soul, it looks something unimaginable, and they tend to speculate because of the fact that they want all understanding to happen through their tiny brain. Such a massive amount of information in the creation and the data and all that cannot be accommodated within the limitations of the human brain, especially through an empirical method of using the senses and some technology and some instruments to understand this. How will you ever finish understanding this? So step number one we can understand as a take home is, it's too vast, the Lord's creation. And the Lord is Shaktiman, and his energies operate in some amazing ways. Parashaya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shuyate. The Lord's energies are many, many fold. And it's vast. And you can imagine God himself, who he is to manage such a vast creation. I said Tripad Vibhuti, spiritual world. We are not even knowing anything much. We can know in theory about the spiritual world. At least we live in the material world. And we may know something somewhere. Prabhupada described this once to one of his very senior disciples, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, if I remember right. Because there was some complaint this way, that way, this and all that. And Krishna always corrects his devotees whenever they get a little proud or something like that. So Prabhupada, completely in a different angle, he was speaking to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, looking out of the window or something, looking into the city. And I think it was New York. And he said, New York is a very bustling city with many people in that. And he said, yeah, it's an exciting place. But New York is a small portion of the whole United States of America. He says, yeah, America is very huge, vast, and whatnot, being an American immediately. Then he said, but America itself is nothing in the whole world. It's a very small portion, so one continent. And, huge, world is. And then, he went ahead and said the world itself is nothing compared to Yasvaika Nishvashita Kala Matavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadanda Nata Krishna Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Kotim Koti Shvasesha Vasudhari Vibhuti Bhinnam. Prabhupada went ahead to explain that there are millions and trillions of planets like this earth. And there are so many lokas. Like that, he started explaining the other way around, from Krishna, the spiritual world, and then the small speck of the material cloud, and then the material world and the universes and this and that is so huge. And then he came down and said that, and in a small place called New York, there is one person called Tamal Krishna who thinks he's very big, who thinks very great about himself. Prabhupada just zoomed down like that. And then he said, to make him understand how tiny and insignificant we are. That was special mercy of Prabhupada shown on Tamal Krishna Maharaj. I'm not repeating everything paka. I may be not getting the right story verbatim exactly like it is said. But the idea was, Prabhupada explained the fantastic vastness of Krishna's creation in the material world and in the spiritual worlds, and compared ourselves to it as such a tiny, insignificant living entity. Well, why do we think so much about ourselves? That's the real take home from this reading. Krishna is so great, and his mercy is also equally great. And he's come in his most merciful form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he has given so much of understanding for us about the world, about the creation, about himself through the books of BHAKTI VINODA SWAMI Prabhupada. And it has become so obvious. The more you read, the more you understand, the more you feel insignificant. The more you feel very insignificant, and the more you feel hopeless and lonely, and the more you will surrender to Krishna. Because Krishna is the only reality, right? So, very nicely explained in many places in the Bhagavatam that we have done a very foolish thing, and of coming to a place where we think we are very great, where we can think we are very great, because we want to feel great. And you want to forget God in order to feel great. The logical conclusion is, if you want to be great and feel great, then you have to take away from your viewpoint and the radar the great person that you know. In the material world also, people function like that. they will not give credence to people who are actually great. It's the same disease. It's the same disease. It's called envy. You say, oh, he's nobody. What is he? I mean, I'm like that. You speak like that. And you have to make everybody else tiny for yourself to become great. The natural default tendency of conditioned souls is to play down on anybody who is materially great. And this is a natural tendency, especially amongst your peers, especially amongst people whom you know, and all that. So this tendency to minimize the Supreme Lord Krishna to the extent that you almost forget him, and do forget him. Shastra Bhagavatam is very beautiful. Today I was reading this verse. Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Devat. Very beautiful. I think in the third canto, 5th chapter, some text 3, I think, 3.5.3. Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Devat Adharmasilasya Sudukhitasya. Very beautiful wording. Anugrahenai, I don't know whether I'm getting the verse correct. Anugrahenai charanti, then bhavanti bhavani janardanasya. Something like that the shloka goes. A very beautiful shloka. You got it? Somebody got it? Yeah, Mahalila, you're muted. Yeah, okay. Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Devat Adharmashilasya Sudhukitasya Anugrahaye Hacharanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. What a beautiful shloka. It's saying here, Vimukhasya, Vimukha, turning your face away. Turning your face away from God. Right? Janasya Krishnat Vimukhasya Devat. Vimukhasya. Vimukha means turn your face mukha away from the Lord. What a description. Vimukhasya Devat. Then what is he doing that for? Adharma Shilasya. He's practicing adharma. Shila means is to practice. Adharma Shilasya. And Sudukhitasya is not only dukkha, sudukha, very miserable he becomes. He becomes very miserable because he turned his face away from the greatest shelter, his father. But in spite of that, the Lord is facilitating him. This is what is the material world. The material world is a place where the Lord facilitates those who want to forget him and be away from him, and still supply them with all the necessities for their illegal material enjoyment. Now you can understand why the Lord is, it's mentioned there, Anugrahayena. It says so nicely, Anugrahayena charanti nunam bhutani bhavyani janardanasya. Jana ardhanasya, for the common people, for the conditioned souls. That's why it's called Janardhan. One who looks after them in spite of them going against him. That's why it's called Janardhanasya. What a beautiful shloka. And for your sake, he has created this material world so that there you can forget him and you can think you are great and you can have a hankara, vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. You can enjoy. Just look at the design. So we are in a place out of the whole cosmology, if you study, you cannot study the cosmology. What is the use of having some telescope and this thing and studying with technology, the planets so physically, so empirically, with your, so-called eyes, which is, totally unfit, and with your technology, which is also equally unfit because it is made through your own senses and brain. You can physically try to understand to some extent. When that is a very, very difficult thing. Such a huge, vast creation with your tiny eyes and your telescope. What are you going to see? It sounds so stupid. It sounds so pathetic. The false ego of the conditioned soul is so pathetic. You want to be, great, and you want to, find out this now. That's why these descriptions of the cosmology of the universe, cosmology of the creation materially, and the spiritual world, and all that is not something that you can see with your naked eye. It's simply impossible. And the small brain of yours can never, then how can I ever know? You will know only if you decondition yourself and surrender to the Lord and remember Him. Then the whole thing is downloaded into you. All that you need to know. It's not coming by your own effort. That's what a Jnani, he does everything by his effort. It's mentioned here. Jnani will go to Mahesh Dhama. The Karmi will remain in Devi Dhama. The devotee will go to Haridhama. Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Teshu Te Te Prabhava Nichayal Nikitas Chayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Devi Mahesha Haridhama Suteshu Teshu. The Brahma Samhita it's mentioned. So if you start using only your brains and intelligence and analysis and everything, definitely it's exciting. Definitely it's an intellectual exercise. And you need to have Gyan, knowledge, everything. But it has got its limitations. Using, analyzing, and putting things together to some extent we can do. No doubt. No doubt. It's exciting also, the journey. But imagine that a devotee can instantly download all this entire information because of the mercy of the Lord. He immediately gives the understanding to his devotee. It's such a complex thing. And so Prabhupada is very coolly explaining this here. He wrote a book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. Easy Journey to Other Planets. And you see, you so easily can understand. But then now you have journey being taken by astronauts. NASA is now sent 2 people into space, and they're stuck in space. Sunita Williams, an Indian, is stuck in space. And they're doing Yani Kani Chapapani in space, going round and round, and they're not able to come back. And these people are not able to contact them to come back. I don't know whether they already have. I saw this about some few days back. You make your contraption and send it into the vast creation, especially even into the material sky, and you get lost. What will you do there? It's so pathetic. But a devotee, especially one who develops his faith, can easily understand this fantastic creation. So Prabhupada described this in the 5th canto, the structure of the universe. The 3rd canto also, you have a description of creation and all these things together. And there he mentions that it will take time. As you progress in spiritual life, you will get to understand these chapters clearly. So he said that as you devotionally progress, you very easily understand this. So these descriptions are very interesting. Although we may be ignorant, and this is just information for us, and we can take it as information, and then it can develop into knowledge because you start having some faith in it, and then it can become a conviction that this is the way it is, and it's very vast, and Krishna is the Supreme Lord from whom all this is coming out. The Brahman effulgence is coming from the supreme form of the Lord. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukam tattvam pushana apabranu satya dharmaya drishtaye. In the Isopanishad, you will see the shloka that the address is, please remove this effulgence and I can see your beautiful form. But all these planets, spiritual world and the material world, are situated in that effulgence of the Lord, which is shown here as a great comet and like a streak in the sky, a lightning streak. And all these things are situated in that. It's the Brahman effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti. situated in that. So, it is a reality. It's a reality. And we are stuck somewhere very small. One devotee explained, I remember in those days when I joined the movement, he said, you can't understand it. And he explained to me that you're very small and tiny. Then he said that imagine an ant is crawling and it is coming close to a huge elephant. And the elephant has got its 4 feet and its trunk moving like this and that. So what the elephant is seeing and being conscious of, and what the ant, which is not even the height of the nails of the elephant, it's huge, the elephant, and what is its perception of the world around. It does not know this is an elephant. What would it look at and see is a white, huge mountain. The nail of the elephant will be a huge white mountain made out of some substance. Maybe I can climb on a little bit, dissolve a little bit of in my saliva, suck it and see. Wow, tastes good. And what is the perception of that ant of the nail of that elephant? What to speak about the leg and the form of the elephant? You see, in what dimension and how the ant will understand the elephant. See how it will understand, what dimension it will understand. Or, for instance, a spider crawling up, or even a frog between the legs of the elephant. A little wrong move and the elephant's leg will sit on the frog, and that's it. All your great so-called thinking is gone. And you have a small perception of something. You won't even see it as an elephant because you don't have a long view of the elephant. And that elephant can finish you. But you're so dangerously located right in the elephant's feet. Just an inch it moves and you're crushed. This is our situation. We are so insignificant. We don't know the reality of this world. And there, like the Kopamanduka, if you think I am very great, that Dr. Frog philosophy Prabhupada spoke, that's what is a conditioned soul's situation. So it's very difficult for you to understand the entire material creation from the conditioned situation that you're in. But Krishna can decondition you if you actually perform pure devotional service, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Srimad Bhagavatam, get Gyan, Yei Krishna Tattva Veta, knowledge about Krishna, get to know, and then surrender to Krishna. Then gradually things will change. The more humble we are in our approach to Krishna consciousness and service to the Lord and our own behavior amongst the devotees of the Lord, the whole thing has to shift a little bit from inside. Right? Then I think it will change, because I understand and I know that it is very difficult for us to actually understand many of these things. I am not decrying here whatever Gyanis get to know. It's also highly glorified by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. But it's not enough, especially if you want the type of understanding that you so much want to grab the understanding. Not so easy to get it. In history of the science, the philosophy, the great understanding, even from the Vedic tradition, you see, it's somehow locked in. It's not, even though if you're a great, Gyani also, and you read all the scriptures and you know everything about this and that and all that, it doesn't so easily become realized knowledge. So I'm not decrying all of the efforts. Krishna glorifies the Gyani very nicely in the Bhagavad Gita. Udaraha sarva evaite gyani tva atmaiva vimatam. He said, the person who knows the truth and understands me, bahunam janmanam ante gyanavan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti. He slowly comes to understand, and he is very dear to me, and there is no difference between me and him. Atmaiva me matam. He is me only, because he has understood fully the Krishna Tattvaveta by my mercy. So the path of Gyan also takes a longer time, but at the end, that Gyani gets to know, wow, Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. But Krishna glorifies the bhakti process and says that you don't have to go through such a drill, a painful drill. You can actually very easily get to the understanding if you simply come to me from the path of bhakti. Come to the path of bhakti. So when these descriptions come up, many times we can only understand it as information. And we have an epistemology and a methodology of faith-based understanding. And somebody else will say that, no, I can't believe this. And I need to, like, NASA will, send people, like it's written here in the chat. I think Giriraj Govinda Prabhu has written, NASA astronaut Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore are carrying out experiments, emergency drill and research on the International Space Station. Yeah. Okay, they are not lost. They have established connection. Fine. And they are doing something. See, they are very sincere in what they're doing. And they are hungry for knowledge. That's a good quality for a human being. Atato Brahma Jignasa. They are at least doing some jignasa and trying to find out. It's just that they may be going through a process which is highly dependable on their own abilities and efforts. And Krishna is awarding that if you develop devotion to me, and specifically in Lord Chaitanya's time, that has become an easier process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You can Krishna mantra hoite pabe samsara mochana, Krishna nama hoite pabe Krishnera charana. Very nicely described Chaitanya Charitamrita that you will get the lotus feet of the Lord. You will also get liberation. Samsara mochana will happen, and if you continue to chant the holy name, you will get love of Krishna. So, even for getting the destination of a Jnani, Brahman realized, fully understanding many things in the material world, you chant Hare Krishna. Even if you want to be a great Jnani, you should chant Hare Krishna. This shloka says. And it is easier for you to go to that place by chanting Hare Krishna. If you continue to chant Hare Krishna beyond understanding full knowledge, you'll also get bhakti. It shows clearly that bhakti is a far, far greater platform than just knowledge. So, understanding, I don't want to go into the deep intricacies of cosmology and everything. I myself, I wouldn't say that I'm very well read in that. But I can understand here simply that all this is explained for the sake of bhakti. It is not explained only for the sake of cosmology itself. And the spiritual planets that are explained here, Tripada Vibhuti, which is far, far more vast than the material creation. That is something that is very interesting. And that is not something that all the great Gyanis of this world or the best scientists of the world are even talking about. They're talking about the material realm, mostly. And the planetary situation on the material level, which itself is something intriguing. And they may have made inroads to a great extent, to some level. No denying those things. But the vastness of the creation that's described here, that has not been reached, and it will not be reached unless you actually become spiritually oriented. That's also very clear. So many times we speak about cosmology. We normally refer to the whole thing, the spiritual world and the material world together. But maybe in the material world, when scientists and others speak about cosmology, they're speaking about cracking the understanding for the existing material realm that they are in, which itself is very vast. So these things come up only when we read the Bhagavata and only when we read literatures like this, that there is something like this. The statements are made here and we can get curious about it. But the highlight of this is how you feel tiny in the face of this amazing display of Krishna's opulence. Atava bahunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vrishtabhyahamidam krishnam ekamshena stito jagat. And there's a statement made by Krishna, which is what is most fascinating to me. One spark of my splendor maintains his entire material creation. Ekamshena stito jagat. Right? Of course, you can argue that Jagat means only the universe and this thing also. Fine. But still, the Lord's energy is being spoken about by the Lord himself. So we can't neglect these statements. These statements are made throughout in the Vedic literatures in many places. That there are planets like this existing, and there are living beings there, and there is liberation, and there are liberated beings in these places. And Krishna is available in his various forms, multi-varied forms. And there are living beings existing under the shelter of Krishna in the spiritual world. And this is a reality. And they are sheltered, they are very safe, they are extremely happy in bliss. All this is described and mentioned. Bhagavatam describes the kingdom of God in one chapter. Prabhupada is titled The Kingdom of God. And it's so beautifully explained there how the kingdom of God is in Vaikuntha Loka. For me, how can these things be just fictitious? Sometimes people claim that they're, just descriptions of this. How do you know? Well, that's why I see such a very solid requirement for faith, even for the Gyanis, in order to cross over into this realm of complete understanding. And I always make a statement that we are just not blind faith. Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.